Electronic warfare was supposed to be the answer. Jam the signal, the drone drops. Russian jammers reportedly neutralized most of Ukraine's FPV strikes drones before they hit a target. Then someone attached a $150 AI module to a $300 quadcopter. A pilot locks the target, lets go, and the machine finishes the strike alone. No signal needed. They call it the ghost drone, because once the handoff happens, jamming can't stop what's already in motion. That leaves a question no one has answered. When a human gives the command but a machine completes the kill, where does control end? On the plains of Ukraine, small, cheap FPV drones have become the dominant kinetic force, reportedly destroying twice as much armored equipment as all artillery, missiles, and mines combined. They represent a revolution of volume over sophistication, where a $300 quadcopter carrying a strapped-on grenade can eliminate a multi-million-dollar main battle tank. But this warfare relies entirely on an invisible and highly fragile thread, a continuous analog radio signal linking the operator to the machine. Russian electronic warfare units exploit this vulnerability constantly, deploying jamming systems that neutralize up to half of all Ukrainian FPV drones before they can reach their targets. This constant electromagnetic interference turns every mission into a test of human ability. The battlefield has exposed a massive disparity in pilot performance. Elite operators capable of flying through dense signal noise maintain strike success rates of 70 to 80%. Mid-tier pilots hover around 50%, while novices struggling to control the twitchy platforms through static-filled screens succeed just 10 to 20% of the time. The human pilot remains the most unstable, vulnerable point in the entire strike chain. To solve the vulnerability of the radio link, engineers shifted machine autonomy to the final seconds of the flight path. Under this system, the human pilot operates the drone normally during the initial phase, scanning the battlefield from a safe standoff distance. When an enemy vehicle or position comes into view, the pilot frames the target on the control screen and locks the crosshairs. Instantly, the drone's onboard processor memorizes the specific visual outline of that target. The pilot then issues the final strike command before the aircraft enters the thickest layers of electronic warfare. For the remaining hundreds of meters, the drone acts as a self-guided missile. It flies without any continuous input from the operator, relying on its camera feed and terminal guidance algorithms to adjust its flight path. Because the processing occurs entirely on board, incoming jamming signals cannot stop the approach. This shift limits autonomous decision-making to the final strike phase, while takeoff and initial navigation remain human-controlled. To scale this terminal autonomy across thousands of cheap aircraft, developers bypassed complex military-grade guidance processors. Instead, they adapted open-source computer vision. Early builds relied on YOLO object detection software running on inexpensive, consumer-grade hardware like the $5 Raspberry Pi Zero or Google Coral Edge accelerators. This approach contrasts sharply with industrial loitering munitions like the Russian Lancet, which rely on expensive military-grade NVIDIA Jetson processors costing thousands of dollars per unit. In Ukraine, a standard manually piloted first-person view drone costs roughly $400. Adding an entry-level terminal guidance module, which contains a basic processing board and a twilight camera sensor, adds only about $150 to the build. This keeps the total cost of an electronic warfare-resistant smart weapon under $550. By turning consumer electronics into precise homing systems, developers converted a fragile hobby platform into a self-guided weapon that can be manufactured at scale. In 2023, Ukrainian entrepreneur Yaroslav Aznyuk founded a company called the Fourth Law. The firm's objective was to develop a standardized, modular solution to the electronic warfare threat. Their flagship product, the TFL-1, is an aftermarket conversion kit that plugs directly into existing third-party FPV quadcopters. The hardware consists of a dedicated processor running real-time machine vision algorithms paired with its own optical sensor. For daylight and dusk operations, the company lists a twilight camera at an entry price of $150, while specialized thermal and night vision options range up to $620. According to company performance data, the TFL-1 can acquire and lock onto a target from up to 500 meters away. Once the lock is established, the module guides the aircraft through its final descent. Early trials with the Ukrainian National Guard confirmed these performance marks. The Fourth Law reports that this system adds roughly 20% to the final price of a standard drone build, but improves mission success rates by 2 to 4 times. This architecture separates the core flight controller from the autonomy module, allowing developers to scale production of the guidance kits independently of the aircraft themselves. While early tests demonstrated the physical viability of terminal guidance, the real driver of mass adoption came from battlefield performance reports. According to a March 2025 report tracking the 112th Brigade's 244th Battalion, the deployment of TFL-1 modules on standard Viri 10 drones caused hit rates to rise from approximately 20% to nearly 80%. Separately, Ukrainian defense officials have cited an average success rate of around 80% across various units equipped with machine vision. While these figures represent military claims rather than independently verified combat statistics, they explain why commanders rapidly embraced the technology. In a war constrained by manpower shortages, the organizational impact of this upgrade alters how units are built. Automating the terminal phase of a strike roughly quadruples the success rate of novice operators, bringing their performance close to that of elite pilots. Under manual flight conditions, training an operator to navigate dense electronic jamming requires months of specialized preparation. AI guidance allows units to compress basic targeting instruction to just 10 minutes, as some frontline training programs have demonstrated. This consistency reduces dependency on rare, highly skilled drone operators. Instead of merely improving a single weapon, autonomy begins to reshape overall force structure, allowing military planners to generate lethal combat power using shorter training cycles and less specialized personnel. In September 2023, Ukraine's Ministry of Defense cleared a different autonomous system for combat, the Sever Scout. Developed by Twist Robotics, a firm founded in 2021 to build agricultural crop monitoring algorithms, the aircraft represents a separate path toward machine intelligence. Unlike small, short-range FPV drones, the Sever Scout is a larger quadcopter with a 12-kilometer range and a 3-kilogram payload capacity. Its proprietary machine vision model is trained to recognize 64 categories of Russian military hardware, even when hidden under camouflage. The drone processes visual data on board and feeds coordinate intelligence directly into Delta, Ukraine's digital battlefield awareness network. This connection allows the system to map targets and locate threats when electronic warfare severs the communication link. In late 2023, Twist Robotics announced that a Sever Scout had executed a lethal strike on a Russian supply convoy without human intervention. Major media outlets quickly reported this as the first confirmed combat kill by artificial intelligence. However, independent defense analysts immediately challenged the assertion. open-source researchers found no verifiable flight logs, telemetry, or third-party footage to confirm an autonomous engagement. Even Twist Robotics offered a significant caveat, stating the autopilot mode was used rarely. It functioned primarily as a fail-safe, activated only when Russian jamming completely blocked the operator's signal. Without forensic proof, the claim remains unverified, highlighting the difficulty of proving machine-made decisions on a contested battlefield. Once the pilot locks onto a target and triggers the handoff, the weapon severs its reliance on the outside world. This transition occurs outside the active range of enemy electronic warfare, rendering defensive jammers useless during the final seconds of flight. Even if electromagnetic interference cuts the video transmission or the radio link drops entirely, the onboard processor continues calculating the intercept path. The aircraft presses the attack even if the operator's control station is destroyed or if the pilot is killed in an incoming artillery strike. It is called the ghost drone because in those final moments, the human has vanished from the loop, leaving only a machine to complete the strike. In July 2025, the Fourth Law publicly revealed its terminal guidance technology. Within 2 months, the transition from frontline improvisation to formal military classification was complete. NATO codified both the TFL-1 autonomy module and the Lupinus 10 drone, assigning them official stock numbers and validating the hardware for Western military logistics. This institutional recognition reshaped frontline production. The Vyry-10, Ukraine's most widely deployed strike drone, now ships with the TFL-1 module as standard equipment. Vyry CEO Oleksiy Babenko has prioritized strict cost discipline, ensuring that adding automated guidance does not materially raise the final price of the weapon. By embedding machine vision directly on the factory floor, developers turned a temporary battlefield workaround into a standardized procurement norm. As the electronic warfare threat intensifies, the two militaries have converged on opposing solutions to the exact same radio jamming problem. While Ukraine pursues machine vision algorithms to sever the operator link in the final seconds of flight, Russia has deployed a remarkably analog alternative: fiber optic drones. These aircraft trail a micro-thin glass cable up to 20 kilometers behind them, transmitting high-resolution video and commands completely insulated from electromagnetic interference. But this physical tether imposes a harsh compromise. A snapped fiber optic thread, snagged on a tree branch, a building, or twisted in midair, instantly terminates the flight. By contrast, AI-guided platforms maintain total maneuverability and freedom of movement, operating without physical limits. As both approaches rapidly proliferate across the front lines, the modern battlefield has split into two parallel realities: absolute physical connection versus autonomous machine freedom. In November 2024, Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation placed its first major contract for 3,000 FPV drones equipped with onboard machine vision. This order established a pattern for state-directed procurement, moving away from decentralized frontline assembly. By the close of 2024, Ukrainian factories had reportedly produced roughly 2 million drones of all types. Today, the domestic market is highly competitive, with more than 100 companies designing autonomous flight software and guidance modules. The speed of this industrial expansion has compressed development timelines. Military planners now estimate that within 6 to 9 months, nearly every strike drone deployed to the front line will feature autonomous targeting. What began as a desperate fix for radio jamming has consolidated into a massive manufacturing base. The manually piloted attack drone is rapidly disappearing, replaced by an army of self-guided machines built at a scale and speed never before seen in modern conflict. On December 22, 2024, near the village of Lipsy, north of Kharkiv, Ukrainian forces executed an assault that previewed a battlefield emptied of human infantry. The attack force consisted entirely of machines, tracked ground robots, including droid TW-12.7 and M-Bot-X platforms armed with machine guns, crawled toward Russian trenches. Overhead, FPV drones equipped with TFL-1 modules targeted defensive positions, using onboard machine vision to lock onto bunkers and strike through heavy radio jamming. No Ukrainian foot soldiers entered the combat zone. Instead, the robotic systems coordinated their fire, forced the defenders to retreat, and once the objective was secured, operators pulled the surviving ground units back to friendly lines. Subscribe to our channel for more deep-dive investigations into modern warfare. The technology remains highly imperfect. Onboard machine vision algorithms cannot reliably target a tank's specific weak points, such as the turret ring or engine vents. Instead, the software locks onto the vehicle as a single mass, often striking the heaviest armored plating and failing to disable the target. This physical limitation is worsened by hardware constraints. Low-cost optical sensors struggle in poor lighting, and low-resolution video feeds frequently degrade target tracking. Furthermore, the Ukrainian drone fleet consists of hundreds of non-standard, improvised airframes. Integrating the TFL-1 module onto these varied platforms yields highly inconsistent flight performance. These technical shortcomings feed a deep cultural distrust among frontline units. Veteran FPV pilots, accustomed to total manual control, often reject the automated handoff, citing a loss of situational awareness in critical combat moments. For many operators, relying on a basic processing chip to make terminal flight adjustments remains a risk they are unwilling to take. The Pentagon's Replicator initiative, backed by $1 billion, now uses Ukraine's low-cost AI model to scale thousands of expendable autonomous drones. At the same time, Russia is field-testing its own machine vision platforms, creating a parallel loop of adaptation. Militaries worldwide are studying this shift, but global diplomacy cannot keep pace. In Geneva, diplomatic efforts have ground to a halt. Although 166 nations voted to discuss lethal autonomous weapons under the United Nations, talks remain gridlocked by major powers divided over where to draw the line. The software is already out in the wild, running on $5 consumer chips. The question is no longer when fully autonomous weapons will arrive on the battlefield, but who, if anyone, will be left to control them. Subscribe to our channel to follow the future of warfare.